The engineers at Audi have come up with a solution to that perennial gliding problem. Not landing where you took off. Of course, marking a glider does call for a rather special car. The Audi Quattro accelerates faster than Concorde. 0 to 60. It's capable of 135 miles an hour with or without a following wind. And because all four of the Audi's wheels are driven all the time, changing direction at speed requires rather less for wing and prow, even when conditions on the ground aren't exactly ideal.
It's your mother on the phone, Roger.
The four-wheel drive Audis. Vorsprung durch Technik, as they say in Germany. Every year, the Schmidts, the Mullers, and the Reinhardts drive to their holiday villas. The Schmidts' car is slow and rather noisy, so when they arrive, they'll need another holiday to get over this one. The Mullers drive a big, thirsty car, which is probably at a petrol station somewhere between Munich and Marbella. The Reinhardts drive an Audi 100, a car so aerodynamic that it's capable of 125 miles per hour. Yet, at a steady 56, it slips along quietly for over 750 miles on one tank full of petrol. And the moral of the story is, if you want to get on the beach before the Germans, you better buy an Audi 100. Vorsprung durch Technik, as they say in Germany. Each winter, the Sherwoods, the Svensons, and the Dietrichs drive to their ski chalets. The Sherwoods drive a large saloon car, which is probably still struggling along a wet autobahn. The Svensons drive a large estate car, which ran into a spot of trouble on the nursery slopes. The Dietrichs have a four-wheel drive Audi Quattro estate, which negotiated the autobahn, the hairpins, and the nursery slopes with equal ease. Yet is capable of carrying them, their luggage, and their skiing equipment almost 500 miles on one tank full of petrol. And the moral of the story is, if you want to be on the piste before the Germans, you'd better buy an Audi Quattro estate. The Audi 100 Quattros, Vorsprung durch Technik, as they say in Germany. When the Fischers go shopping, they take their Audi Coupe, which is capable of 122 miles per hour. First stop, France, to call in at the off-license. Then to Switzerland, to pop into the bank. After which they can go on to Italy and admire Italian design, while the Italians admire German design. Next stop, Austria via the scenic route, to pick little Wolf and his gang up from school. And finally, after 596 miles, it's back to Germany to plan the following day's trip to the country. Though which country, they've yet to decide. The Audi Coupe, Vorsprung durch Technik, as they say in Germany, Switzerland, France, Italy, Austria. As a leading violinist, Rudolf Geiger never goes on tour without his priceless Stradivarius. Like any rare item, a Stradivarius should always be kept in a safe place, which is just one reason why Herr Geiger drives an Audi 100. A car that performs brilliantly on the flats, on the sharps, and in the wind sections. And for an encore, hums along quietly at a steady 56 for over 750 miles on one tank full of petrol. And the moral of the story is, if you don't want to play second fiddle to the Germans, you'd better get an Audi 100. Vorsprung durch Technik, as they play in Germany. You may have observed the German cinema has never made a car film in the spectacular Hollywood tradition. Perhaps the engineers at Audi are partly responsible. The 200 brake horsepower Audi Quattro, for example, has a four-wheel drive system which makes it almost impossible to skid or slide in a corner, even for the camera. It clings to the road like a limpet in the wet, which makes for great driving, if not great cinema. And thanks to ABS, braking too is a singularly undramatic performance. So the Germans have to rely on riveting dialogue for their excitement.
Hans.
Helge.
Hans.
The four-wheel drive Audi Quattros, Vorsprung durch Technik, as they say in Germany. When cruising the Mediterranean, Karl Haldenberg carries with him a new Audi 80. Why an 80, you might ask? Is it because it's available with four-wheel drive and ABS? Or is it because 1980 was the year Karl made his first million? No. He chose a new Audi 80 because it's one of the few cars in the world made from fully galvanized steel. So, if Karl's skipper should get, a little careless, rust won't be Karl's problem. Of course, getting his guest home again could be. Vorsprung durch Technik, as they say in Monte Carlo, Saint-Tropez, Antibes, Juan-les-Pins. Where, we wonder, did the engineers at Audi draw their inspiration for the extraordinary Audi 90 Quattro? For the road-gluing four-wheel drive, for example, with Torsen differential. Or the unique ABS system with manual override. Or the powerful 136 bhp engine.
Was wird nächste Woche?
So, next week's film?
Frankenstein. Das ist eine gute Prüfung der Stoßdämpfer.
Apparently that's a good test of the shock absorbers. Vorsprung durch Technik, as they say at the Audi Film Club. As well as studying automotive design, the engineers at Audi also study people design. It helped them determine the optimum all-round vision for the Audi 80. It helped them calculate the ideal amount of headroom. It helped them develop a more comfortable armrest and shape the most supportive seats. In fact, in the pursuit of perfect ergonomics, no one has looked at people more closely. Vorsprung durch Technik, as we now observe people are saying.